or 7, my parents would argue. And it appeared that a lot of the arguments were based upon my father, particularly when he was drinking in the household. And what I do remember is incidents where my father may have hit my mother, and how angry it made me and how upset it made me. But at the same token, I felt very helpless at a young age to do anything about it. Incidents of violence continued to escalate, but I also saw how my mother tried to shield my sister and I from being exposed to it by taking us over to other relatives' houses, by trying to explain to us that things would get better. And as a mother who was trying to keep it together, she had a lot of weight on her as well. And for a 3-day period, you know, we were actually at a shelter in Maryland, a domestic violence shelter, and believe it or not, it was 3 of the most peaceful days of my life as a young person, because we didn't have to worry about the arguing, the screaming, any type of hitting or abuse. But there was a situation where he was binge drinking, and I was a college student, but I was also, you know, staying with him. And I was getting very frustrated and angry because whenever he would binge drink, you know, you couldn't, it was very unpredictable. And so this one day I said, okay, look, the door is locked. I was banging on the door. I was like, open up the door. I need to get my stuff. I want to get my stuff out of here. He had people up there with him. They were drinking too, people from the community, from the neighborhood. And so I was just to a point, banging on the door. I want my stuff. I opened the door. His friend was there at the bottom of the steps who was also drunk. And I said, hey, I want my damn stuff, and I'm coming up to get it. My father said, oh, you're not gonna get a damn thing. I said, yes, I am. I'm getting my stuff. So as I go up those steps, he comes back to the top of the steps with a firearm, and he lets go one shot. First of all, I can't believe, okay, I don't even believe this is happening. I go duck right back around the corner. Right next to his office was a liquor store. And I knew the owner of the liquor store, and the owner came out and said, what was that? It was a gunshot. I said, yes. I said, my father just shot at me. He said, I can't believe this. I said, he just shot at me. Call the police. So the police came, they went up into the office, they brought my father out, they locked him up. And a part of me was glad that finally maybe this needed to happen, to end this drinking and the violence. But then another part of me was kind of torn, because I was like, this isn't good either. My father finally, after that, said internally that he had to change. I define reconciliation, the ability to accept the past for what it was, but also the ability to move towards the future with hope, based on a positive, healthy outlook and mutual respect. I was at a church service. He talked about to the congregation some of the things that occurred within our household and how he was responsible for almost destroying our family. And he said that if it wasn't for my mother and the strength of us, you know, more than likely, you know, all of us would not have been in a better position than we are now. Seeing him publicly, you know, be accountable for his behavior, that helped to heal. Some people should have those conversations with their families when it's safe to do so. As I had with my father, to say, hey, I love you, but what was this all about? There's a reality that in some situations, individuals may not have that opportunity or may not choose to do so, but they still need to find a way to process that same conversation with someone who is trusted, someone who understands their experience, that will help them to unleash their emotions in a healthy way so they can move on. And also, I'll say this, working with other families and strengthening them and sharing with them is also something that strengthens myself. Healing is being able to educate yourself as to why it may have happened, not looking for excuses, or any type of thing of that, but understanding what happened to you. And then being able to move to a point when you talk about healing, as I mentioned, acceptance of then processing that hurt and being able to pull off of those things that are strengths so you can let it go. The anger go, let the pain go. And a part of that also is being able to hold people accountable for what has happened, if not directly, indirectly, but then be able to take that, understand it, and move on and take that negative energy and turn it into a positive energy. I know of too many situations in working with families in which healing is not even something that is considered. The acceptance, and then there's also the process of engaging support circles, family, your faith. Those elements, those things are a continuum, or part of a continuum of healing. And lastly, the closure. Being able to move from that point so you can move to the next pathway in your life in a healthy way.
My dad was a really smart black man. He worked at the U of M as a biochemist researcher, and growing up talked about the discrimination that he experienced.